So hi, welcome to this week's episode of end.formants, END.formants. You can find us on Facebook. We've got some topics this week that we're going to talk about. The cannibal cop killer, Gillberto Valle, I believe is his name. Uh, the Justin Bieber rant. The most amazing thing that you know of an animal, what an animal has done, the most amazing thing, and what's a scary or most reoccurring or poignant dream that you've ever had. So those are our topics. We're going to do things a little bit differently as well this week. I hope to add some graphics. So those of you that like to listen to us, you might opt to watch a little bit of the show this week as well. So we're going to start off. We got Julie from the UK. Hi, Julie from the UK.
Hello. Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. And happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody, by the way.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
And we've got Jenny Reed, who we assume is still in a long-standing relationship
Oh, yes.
with the same person, right?
Oh, yeah. I decided not to change her this week.
Okay. Okay, very good. Very good. So, also we were gonna ask some questions about which I left out by accident. We were gonna talk to Julie about the Queen and about Princess Kate's baby bump because we do have followers from the UK and from Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, and I might be the only American that cares about the Queen and stuff, but I know that these other countries definitely do care about the monarchy. So let's start off with the cannibal killer. And here it is. I think his name is Gilberto Valle, and he is a former New York police officer who was convicted of conspiracy of intent to um, kidnap, mutilate, cook, and eat women. That's there were some pretty weird headlines about that too, that were also kind of tongue in cheek. But the thing that gets me about this is I know that a big part of the conviction was that he was using law enforcement resources to make his connections and find out about the people that he was interested in, I guess, eating. Um, but to have somebody be convicted and a possible life sentence because of more or less of a fantasy. Now, listen, I believe the guy needs mental health. However, I don't know if his intention was real or if he was, in fact, trying to live out a fantasy. And we've seen people like Casey Anthony and O.J. Simpson who have appeared to be a lot more who have appeared to be a lot more guilty than this gentleman, or this, I don't want to call him gentleman in case he really is into that, this guy. So you know what do you have to say about that, Jenny, you're from this country. What do you think? That's kind of like that's out of precedence for us, right? I mean, we don't tend to do that. We don't tend to do that.
Yeah, the whole thing strikes me as just wrong. Now, first of all, I want to say there are two separate things he was convicted of. He was definitely convicted of using the police resources to do his research. Now, since that was not for police business, that was illegal. He should have been convicted for that. Now, the other thing that he was convicted for, that's the thing that's controversial, and that's the thing that I have a problem with. And the other thing, that was that he was convicted for conspiracy to cook and eat people. And the thing is, other than looking up information online and using the police resources to look up information. He didn't do anything. And
they never, by the way, they never found any duct tape. They never found any physical evidence. Even the police officers said, we didn't even find so much as duct tape. We didn't find anything that made his thoughts realistic. You know, there was nothing really tangible except for, I guess, the research that he did online, that he did using the resources.
Exactly. He did some research online, which is not illegal. I mean, you can look up anything. If it were illegal, every mystery writer in the world would be in jail, um, as well as every wannabe mystery writer. And then, he had a few conversations with somebody else who may or may not have actually been serious on the other end. Actually, we don't know what his intent was in those conversations, but they're just conversations. And I mean, in this country, you have the right to say anything you want as long as you don't follow it up with action.
Do you know by the fourth day? Do you know by the fourth day, Jenny, that it was unanimous that by the fourth day the jury was unanimous?
Really?
Yes.
That's not what I would have read, but I could have read different stuff.
Well, of course, obviously, yeah, I think I got that information from, I want to say, the New York Post or the Times. It could have even been the Huffington Press. I'm not, 100% sure where I got.
Well, I read that the jury deliberated for a long time before they came out with their decision, which implies that there was some dissent, or at least they were looking at it from all angles.
Well, I read that too. However, I did read by the fourth day after, I guess, deliberation that it had become unanimous. But I'm not trying to leave Jenny. I'm not trying to leave Julie out. Julie, do you know anything about this case? And are you surprised at? I mean, obviously, nothing in human nature should really surprise us anymore. But, I mean, are you surprised in the conviction?
So, just to clarify for my fellow UK people, did he actually murder people and eat them?
No.
No.
He was just using information and then that information was used.
No, what he was doing was he was having these conversations with someone else over the computer, so they were recorded.
Yeah.
Now, so the jury actually got to hear his conversations, but his conversations were things like, "Ooh, I really want to eat her," and "Oh, I've been thinking about eating her for a while."
And there was some grotesque details to it as well. So yeah. Go ahead.
So his fantasy, his verbals, his discussions were very detailed in what he wanted to do, but he never did anything except talk about it and look up a few things on the web.
And he did mention some people's names.
Yes, he had very specific victims in mind. It wasn't just, "Oh, I want to eat someone." It was, "I want to eat my wife. I want to eat my wife's best friend. I want to eat," he had very specific names of people he wanted to capture, torture, kill, and eat.
But he never followed through with any of that. We might have been able to catch him in time. But there was nothing like that as far as we know occurred. So now that you know the details a little bit more, what's your feeling about that?
Well, I think people should be allowed to express themselves, and as Jenny rightly said, any writer, and you know this as well as stuff, would write things like that maybe in the first person. And if people maybe looked at my computer, if I happened to die suddenly, they may be quite shocked.
I'm not Val McDermott, by the way, but if somebody were to look in Val McDermott's computer, who is a fantastic author, but also, Wire in the Blood is based on that, and we got that over here, BBC America, and I mean that was a very grotesque. However, it was a brilliant show. So
Yeah.
anyway,
But there's a
please.
big difference. Yeah, I think there's a big difference between that, which is clearly fiction, and somebody who is actually saying, "Oh, I'd really like to do this to a specific person." I think that they certainly need to be investigated. And as you said, maybe we want to catch it in time.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, we didn't get that. Repeat that again.
Well, I was just saying maybe we just happened to catch him in time. So obviously he needs to be investigated. But if he hasn't actually done anything wrong, then it's a really tough one. Because we do have laws in this country which are hate speech. I think you have that as well. Where you're not allowed to incite rioting.
Right, that's correct. That's correct.
So, if I was to say to you, "Oh, let's all go and do whatever," then that would be considered against the law.
Right.
So I suppose it sounds like he should definitely have been taken out of normal life, I guess, because there is a clear difference between me writing fiction and not actually even saying it out loud. It's still written. Maybe it's a person even. But if I'm actually on the phone saying to you, "Oh yeah, I'd really like to do this," then there's definitely something that needs to be investigated.
Absolutely.
But then whether he should actually be incarcerated for that,
Right.
it's a totally different thing, isn't it? Because he hasn't actually done anything wrong.
Well, the only thing that he did, in fact, without a doubt, do wrong was use police resources for his personal gain.
But the trouble is, sometimes you hear about a stalker, let's say, who's been planning, to do lots of horrible things to the person that they're stalking, and the person that they're stalking knows about that, but until they actually do something to them, the police won't get involved.
Right.
That's
right.
And we're like, well, obviously they should stop them.
Right.
So it's a tough one, I think.
I agree. I agree with that. He was, and I'm sure that this played a fact in it, because I think that we do hold police officers in higher regard. He was in fact a New York police officer, so I think that definitely weighed bearing on that as well.
Yeah, they're in a position of trust.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
They're civil servants.
Yeah, they're supposed to be protecting people, not wanting to kill
Not
them.
eating them.
Yeah. Exactly.
I agree. Okay, so we had another topic that I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but Justin Bieber. You know who Justin Bieber is, yes, Julie?
I do.
Okay, and you know who Justin Bieber is, yes, Jenny?
I've heard of.
Okay. Justin Bieber is like the Donny Osmond in my day, or the Tony DeFranco maybe in your day, or Bay City Rollers in somebody else's day. He is a pop star who's from Canada and has he found basically his fame, I believe, on YouTube, and he went viral. And the young his followers are called Beliebers. So anyway, Justin Bieber's behavior, I guess, was in question over the past couple weeks, and people were saying things about maybe he was on drugs, maybe he's going a little overboard, and I think he had just turned 18 years old. So, um, he ranted on, I want to say, it was one of the social network sites, and it was on the news and stuff. But he ranted and said something to the effect of, I don't have a drug problem. I don't need rehab. And he based it all on the fact that he was making millions upon millions of dollars and that he had had so many gold records and so many successful concert tours. And then at the end of the rant, he said he compared himself to Lindsay Lohan, and he had said he had written something to the effect of check her tax return from 2012 and then check mine. And he later deleted that bit because, well, first of all, that's wrong to say, to bring up another person's name. And as you guys know, I said I was a drug addict for 5 years. I was a functional fuck up. I went to work every day. Okay? I paid my taxes. My bills were paid. According to everybody looking in, including my family and my friends, because you've even heard Paula say, I didn't know you had a drug problem. Everything appeared to be normal and under control. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to have a drug problem and be unsuccessful at the same time. You can have a drug problem and still be successful. He could just be an 18-year-old his freedom. If people were saying to him, hey, let's catch you in time, he definitely turned it into something that was much more, I don't have a drug problem because I have more money than you, basically. Now, because I started with Jenny before Julie. What's your feeling about that?